All right, guys, this is my new video, the Saga of a Table, where basically I'm going to show you my table as it has been through the years. Basically, what I have, how I started with my table at events, and up to where it is now. I literally did an event yesterday, so you can kind of see the evolution. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about excuse me, why I made the choices that I made, why I started doing a thing, why I stopped doing a thing, items of that nature. So here we go. This was, I don't know if it was my first table, but it had to be pretty close to it. Um, it was definitely the oldest picture I could find of my stuff. But I suspect I don't think this is my first event because there's already some iteration here that I know. But so what do we see on the table? I did not have any books out that were just me. Um, the books you see there, those are anthologies that I have a short story in. Um, but you can see I have the newsletter sign up. I have some buttons, Tales by Bob buttons. I've got a Tales by Bob shirt. Um, I've got my banner from Vistaprint in the back there. And uh, so the thing there in the middle was I bought some old parchment paper looking stuff. It was like printer paper, but it looked like parchment. And I would go find creepy, cool public domain bits of like old woodcuts, basically, and print them on that. And I would try and sell them. I don't know that I ever actually sold one. Um, kind of a terrible idea. Those thumb drives you see there, those contain all the short stories that I had anthologies in. I thought it was a good idea. I thought, ooh, thumb drives. People can just buy and get all my stories. Rather than have to buy the whole book or buy multiple books, they can get all of my stories on one thumb drive. I think I sold like two of them. And I eventually quit because I was worried about them getting jostled and corrupted and someone buying a thumb drive and then uh, getting it home and it not working. Uh, and up there in the corner, you can see this is another little thing. I would buy little frames from thrift stores. I would put a little bit of this like parchment paper in there. I would print something creepy on the back, and then I would like roughly paint uh, Eldritch stuff on it. And I don't think I ever sold one of those either. But yeah, this was a little event at behind a bar, a video game bar. Um, yeah. Okay, so here uh, I realize that people don't really like buying anthologies where you are just one of the stories in them. So at this point, Books, Beards, Booze was kind of coming on strong, which is the podcast I do. And I had got some merch for it, made for it, and just kind of shifted more into, you know what, I'm going to keep doing these events, um, but I'm going to really promote the podcast. So um, I found that cool tablecloth there with the skull and the top hat. I thought kind of matched my brand. And then shot glasses were cool. We did sell some of the shot glasses. I still have a bunch. We bought a big order of them because you have to buy them in large numbers to be cost effective. I doubt we ever fully made our money back on that, but I don't know. It was neat. But you can see email sign up. That stack of papers there, that half of it, it's basically two columns. It's just a one sheet. It's like, here's all about Bob the author. Here's all about the Books, Bridge Booze podcast. So, and you can see I have a business card there, but that was an early business card that actually had um, my email address on it. I think. Sorry, guys, I've been fighting a cold for a while, a month now. Um, but yeah, you can see I'm selling this anthology for $10, woefully underpriced. Um, Shot glasses, 5. Yeah, you know, it was fine. This was also at a bar. This was at a cool little ginger beer brewery in Alabaster. Okay, so back to a little more book focused. This was a library event in Dothan, Alabama. Um, you can see I got the thumb drives back out. I started with 10, and you can see I'm down to what, 6 here, but I know I didn't sell 4, so I'm not sure where they all went. But you can see business cards. You see my pile of books. I guess is getting smaller at this point. This has been a while, but you can see I traded out the to this more just mustache based little runner. Um, you know, why not? But yeah, nothing much else to say about this. So okay, so this is the first con I ever set up at. Um, I guess I reordered some books, or maybe I just didn't have them all out on the table on the last one. But I got out that skull top hat tablecloth, and I really liked it. I thought it was so cool. I was like, oh man, it's almost just like my logo. You can see my logo in the back there, but it's just too busy. It's just too busy. Uh, it distracts. I mean, look, there's shot glasses on that table. You can hardly see them. Um, but yeah, still got the email sign up sheet. I've got my sheets where it's like, oh, here's all about me, because and people don't really take those. So that was a huge waste of time and money. I think I printed them on like a slightly more, it wasn't just like printer paper, it was more like a parchment style paper. Um, so it was a little more substantial. So a lot of money. I mean, not a lot of money, but it was all that money was essentially wasted. Um, and then you can see here the binder. That is those woodcut pieces of paper that were such a huge waste of time. But in the back, you can see this is I've just started dipping my toes into shirts, and um, so the shirts you see, the Tales by Bob shirts, I had a buddy who did screen printing, so he ran a deal. I got a bunch made. Spoiler: if you're not well known, people don't want a shirt with your logo like this. They just don't. If you, my advice is if you're doing this, you want something with your logo on it, make it something a cool design that incorporates your logo, something that people would just like to wear. Anyway, so I still have a bunch of these shirts. I ordered a ton because it was such a good deal. It was like $4 a shirt. Um, I now use them uh, to stuff totes so books don't get damaged. But you can see behind my arm there that Innsmouth High School State Championship swim team shirt. That was like the first shirt design that. Now I did not make this design. I traded a graphic designer. I did writing for her. It's the same person who made my logo. We traded work for work. And she made that design, and that's still one of my best-selling shirts. It's a cool shirt. You can go get on Amazon right now. But yeah, so I had that there as more. You could not buy that shirt from me. It was just to showcase, hey, this is the thing I do. At that point, I only had like 2 shirt designs up. All right. Oh, this event was shit, by the way. Did not make my table back. Okay. This is the next little con I did. You can see at this point I have a Booksbridge Booze banner. Now, did I have that in the last one? Let me go look. No. Okay, so I've acquired the Booksbridge Booze podcast banner with my website for it on the bottom, but that website no longer exists. So I still have this banner though. I actually just cut the email part off of it like this week actually because I want it in the background for something I was recording. Um, but yeah. So you can see the shirt I have over here in the corner is I have depression. The shirt is my cast. I thought that was a super cool idea. That I designed it. The idea was that people would sign your shirt. You know how people sign your cast um, as a way to like commiserate. Yeah, no one ever took me up on that. I think that shirt's still available somewhere for sale, maybe Amazon. Anywho, um, so what do we got here? You can see that I have a thing with candy in it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do the candy thing. You can see I've doubled up on the busy. I've got the busy tablecloth with the busy table runner. I've got buttons. The buttons always did okay. They were never really gangbusters, but I got them so cheap that it worked. You see, I still have 6 thumb drives. Yeah, have not sold any between here and the last one, which a decent amount of time had passed. Um, what you see in the stand-up flyer holder things, these are one-sheet RPGs printed on some decent parchment. paper, so they're a little sturdy, and they never really sold that well because they're bland. They're very bland. But I wasn't really good at graphic design at this point. COVID hadn't hit. I hadn't learned graphic design basically. Um, so yeah, but hey, still got my email sign up. Have your email sign up. You'll see that I frequently don't have it, but it's because of space constraints. But you can see I've started, dipping my toes in some decoration. I got a skull over here. It's cut off, but that's like a little keyboard, or like a keyboard typewriter. It's actually, oh, here it is. I keep it by my desk now. I really liked it, but it got, oh, come on, it's got a cord draped across it. It got cracked. It fell and got cracked, but yeah, it's got help. Yes. Neat. Okay, yeah. Y'all didn't give a shit about that. But I did, and I'm making the video. Yeah. All right. Boom. Okay. Oh my God. Look at what a novel concept. I have my own books on a table. What? Okay. So yeah, here we go. At this point, I have two books out. Um, what do I have? I have a really shitty email sign up. I can't remember what happened here, but I think I got to the event and realized, oh crap, I forgot my clipboard, and I just went into my truck, dug around and found it. Just a note: the last slide you see was taken. The picture was taken here, so you'll see the the change in this place, which is pretty neat to see. But okay, so I have business cards. I don't actually have a Tales by Bob business card on this table. What I have are these ones in front are business cards for the nonprofit I do, the Hilltop Howlers. And the business cards behind it, uh, I believe those are the I made a game that fits on a business card, a little silly little game. That's what that is. But this is the unveiling of the skull, the deer skull, which I really, really love. I still have it. It's in my office in here somewhere. Where is it? I can't remember, but it's in my office somewhere. Um, and I bought this is a plastic deer skull off Amazon. I painted it black, painted it up to look like the deer skull that's in book one, which is why there's a deer skull on the cover of book one. Um, and hung little things from it to make it fit what it's supposed to look like. And this beside it is meant to be a spell jar. Um, I quit bringing that pretty quickly on the spell jar, I think, because I was afraid of it breaking, because it is glass. Love the skull, and you'll see it on a number of the slides going on because I used to carry it to all my events. I have gotten out of the habit because it's very awkward. It it's too big to really fit in any of my totes, and I wouldn't necessarily want to put it in a tote. But I don't have a good way to carry it. I have to carry it by hand a lot of the times, and basically with my new rolling uh, tote toolbox thing that I use to carry my stuff to events, there's not a good way to really carry it without it getting dinged up. So I don't know. I do want to start bringing it back to events. I just got to figure that out. But yeah, anywho, yeah, books. I have them. What? Crazy. Okay. This was the first event I did with a bunch of people. And you can see facing the table to the left, that's Ben Meeks's spot. What? Me and Ben. I think this is the first event we did. This was supposed to be an Atlanta Comic Con, but it got merged with Fandemic, which is more of like a Walking Dead event, and we got stuck in a really bad area. Um, but it was still a pretty fun event. And also, you can see here next to me was on the other side was Michelle Tompkins, who because of the connection I made there, I got to do teach at the Atlanta Self Publishing Conference a couple of times. And then on the end was an author. Oh, what is her name? I can't remember now. It'll come to me after I'm done. So anyway, what do we got here? We got. I now have 3 books. What? But I don't have an omnibus yet. Um, I do have my sign up. I've got my deer skull. I still don't have a Tales by Bob business card. I just have this game business card. What the hell was I doing? I don't know. Um, I'd had it to where you could scan for a QR code. Um, And if you will look, you'll notice that Ben Meeks does not have an email sign up sheet. I have learned basically everything I know about hand selling from that man. Literally, the only thing I think I've ever taught him was that QR code signups don't work for email lists. You think they would, but they really don't. You're going to get a ton more signups if you have a pen and sheet out. I don't know why. It just is. Um. Oh, also, doesn't really matter, but in the back, the two chairs there are these like cool hammock chairs that I really really liked, and they were so cool that I went home and bought one. Um, thanks, Ben. Another great tip. Okay. Oh, and this event, like I said, it was okay. If we'd been in a better spot, it would have been profitable. I think I came one book short of breaking even. But hey, it was my first time sharing. Um, Still didn't know what I was doing. I'm happy with it. I was very happy at the time. Okay, this was an event I did for uh, launching book 4 of Praying the Day's Not Poison. This is my book launch event. I didn't do book launch events before because mostly I was publishing during COVID. Um, and so, yeah, this was at Hilltop Public House. They very graciously said I could come set up for free. I had like 9 people come out. It was nine, eight people come out. It was pretty cool. I was really like what the fuck? 8 people took time out of their day to come see me launch a book. I don't know. That was kind of mind blowing to me at that time. And still, like, I mean, any event I have, if it's just me, if anyone comes out, I'm still just like, oh my god, you're a saint. Okay, so what do we have here? Um, I have. You can look at the back there. You see a roll of raffle tickets. I did a raffle for people who came out. You got a raffle just by showing up. Um, I have all 4 books. You can see I'm still promoting Books, Bridge, Booze in the background. So this rack, I haven't talked about it yet. It's the rack that you can see over my shoulder here. Um, I hate it. um, I don't hate it. It's just fuck me. That is way too much to have to carry into an event. It's heavy. It's shockingly heavy for what it is for a wire rack, and awkward as all fuck. So Um, and really, what do I need it for? To hang a couple banners? Like, Jesus Christ. The fact that I carried this so relentlessly to events for so long, just, I kick myself now. Absolutely was not needed. Um, it just made everything so much more awkward. Um, but okay, you see, we're back to the super busy tablecloth. Had not learned yet. Still got some shot glasses for Books, Bridge, Booze. Basically, what it was at this time I had space in the totes. I don't carry these shot glasses around because I don't. That space is better used to carry books. Basically, I don't want to fill it with shot glasses. Glasses don't make me much money. Books make me money. So yeah, that's where the space goes. Especially as I've added more books. Um, you can see here I have stickers. This is the first time I did stickers. Uh, I had been told, and I think this is really solid advice. You need to have a small, cheap something on the table, because sometimes people come, they stop by, and they're like, "Oh, I want to support you, but I don't want to spend $15, or I don't have $15." You have something cheap that they can buy to support. Um, and so that's I opted to do stickers. I just would what I would do is I would buy bundles of stickers off Amazon. You get like 200 stickers for $8 or something like that. It ended up being like coming out to like pennies per sticker, between 2 and 9 cents a sticker typically. And I would sell them for $1. But they were so cheap that I would give them away. Um, if you bought something, you got a sticker. If you brought someone to my booth, I'd give you a sticker. Just shit like that. Um, okay, you can see also I have a book stand with postcards on it. I love postcards, so I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna make some postcards." People like my cover art. I make a postcard with a cover art on it. Yeah, sold like shit. People don't like to buy postcards, seemingly. Um, and you would think that maybe I would learn from this, but I don't. You'll see it. I keep tilting at this particular windmill. But hey, look, I've got a Tales by Bob business card now. What a novel concept. Um, yeah, I think that. Oh, you can see in the back corner that teal thing. That's the tote. I had 2 totes that I with a cart. That's how I got everything into my events. I had just a what they call, I think, like a garden wagon that I bought two big totes off no, from Walmart, and they would sit inside that wagon, and I would just pull it into events. Yeah, I think what I gave on the raffle was you could get a Tales by Bob shirt. I think that's what I had, and I just threw a bunch of This is where I used all the Tales by Bob shirts to for storage to like in these totes because these totes were not really adequately designed to carry books. I would load my books in and then just stick shirts all around it. So I had the shirts with me. It's like, oh, raffle. Yeah. Okay. So this was Montevallo Art Stalk. You can see I've got a little bit more decoration. You see like some more skull type things. You can see I got the stickers. I sold like over $100 in stickers at this event. It was pretty cool. Sold like one postcard. It was shit. But you can see four books out. I've got my bird skull that is still I still use at my table pretty frequently. You can see I've got my little. I now have my skull hand that I use to hold my business cards. I still do that. Um, you can see I have a price sheet. I no longer use a price sheet. It takes up space on the table, um, and I don't want people to convince. There's a lot of factors why I don't use it. One, actually, I don't want to give people a chance to convince themselves out of buying something. You know, if they sit there and they see the price and they're mulling it over like that, I don't know. To me, that just seems like you're giving them a chance to talk themselves out of a purchase. Um, but if people ask, the only thing so I don't have a price sheet, but I do have a thing where I have it set up to where I have a sign for like my ultimate bundle that has the price on it. So you can see, oh, the ultimate bundle is blah blah blah. Okay. So yeah, you can see on the price sheet I was selling shirts for $10 each. I was really just trying to get rid of them at this point. Still selling shot glasses, postcards, no one's buying stickers. Yes, people bought the shit out of the stickers. Still promoting, still carrying the stupid fucking rack around because I hate myself. Uh, and but look, I've tidied things up a bit. We're just a plain black tablecloth. That's a folding 6 foot table that I bought from Walmart or Sam's, I think. And I bought off Amazon. I bought a fitted um, tablecloth that is like stretchy material. Packs down real small, and it hooks over the feet of a 6 foot table under it. So it covers everything, so you can put your totes underneath. You can see I don't have the tote underneath because I forgot to pack a chair, and this was an all-day event outside, so I was sitting on that tote. Um, that's why you can see the tote. But normally I put the stuff under the table. Okay. This is me and Ben. This was our first year at Conjuration. Great event. And this is us splitting a table. You can see at this point Ben has his omnibus, and I don't have one yet. And this is where I was like, "Ooh, man, I really need an omnibus." But what I do have is my little tree and Mothman. So this Mothman I bring to every event. Now I bought it. There's a fiber artist in Montgomery. She makes these little frogs. Primarily, she makes frogs. They're these little frog fabric doll things. I don't know how to describe it. You can see it, but she made a Mothman, and I bought the Mothman. I was like, oh fuck yeah, give me that Mothman. Okay, you can see stickers. I hated this thing for stickers, but I could not at that point had not found anything better to hold and display the stickers. You can probably tell, but it's a silverware drawer thing. Yeah. But you can see here, I'm very cramped for space. I had not learned about going vertical yet. I just have everything flat on the table, just trying to make room. Um, black tablecloth that was provided by the event. I'm pretty sure. If not, that was Ben's tablecloth. He always has a few on him, and I've got to where now every event I go to, I typically have 4 tablecloths with me. Sometimes I need to loan one out to someone who forgot theirs. Sometimes, so this, like you can see here, we're in a hallway essentially, and it's not a locked away hallway. So typically, what you do is at the end of the day, you lay the tall stuff down if you need to, but otherwise you just throw a tablecloth over it to keep your stuff from getting stolen, which isn't really much of a threat. And I've always been of the mindset if someone steals a book, they probably really needed it. So, okay. Um, this was an event where I was the actual guest of honor. This was a MagicCon down in Brundage. Still have 4 books. You see my skull. You can see my little Mothman a little better. I need to name my Mothman. But anyway, Deer Skull's back. Um, Still doing the postcards that weren't selling, but you can see now I have a much better way to display my stickers. And now they're like grouped by type. Like these are Mothman stickers, these are Bigfoot stickers, these are witch stickers, these are tarot stickers, just whatever. I would buy stickers I felt that would appeal to people that my books appeal to. So, um, but yeah, you can see it's that stretchy black tablecloth. It's a folding 6-foot table. I actually remembered a chair this time. That's a rocking chair. I love a rocking chair. It's a folding rocking chair. Um, but yeah, nothing too wild here. Books on stands. Uh, so you can see the stands I'm using here. These were okay. You can if you look at the stands that the signs are in, those fold flat. They are. I got them. If you go to like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, uh, they pretty much if you rummage around, go once a week until you see that they have that style of book stand on sale. It will happen within a week or two. I promise you. I think Michael's everything in the store goes on sale like every other week, or maybe that's Hobby Lobby. I can't remember, but also, I think it's Michaels that they send out a code every week that one item you get like 50% off or something like that. Get that. Anyway, get these for cheap. But they fold flat, so I liked those because they fold flat. They fit better. The ones that my books are actually in, they would fold up flat, but you see how it's got that lip that's actually holding the book? That part didn't fold down flat. So they actually took up a little less room. They weren't as tall, yada, 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 but they weren't flat. So didn't really like them. Anything else to say here? Oh, I'm under an awning that I bought. This is a 10 by 10 awning. It's pretty standard. Either get an 8 by 8 or a 10 by 10. Um, yeah, that's it. Okay. This was the first Summerton Book Festival. What? I've got a book rack. What a novel fucking concept. Um, so yeah, I finally got a book rack, so I could put all my books. Um, Let me go back a slide real quick. Okay, you see here I have 4 books still. One, two, three, four. You come to this one. Um, Enough time has gone by that all 6 books are out. Let me go. Yeah, okay. There was a gap. Okay, all 6 books are out at this point, and I have made 2 omnibus editions. So the problem is, let's go way back a little bit. Uh, to throwing up yet? Here we go to this slide. 4 books. How many books do you bring of each of books 2, 3, and 4? Right? It's like okay, you bring 20 book copies of book one. Well, do you bring 15 of book two and 15 of book three and 10 of book four? And then that's a ton of inventory space. And then if all people buy is a bunch of book ones, and you end up, or they've bought a bunch of book ones and book twos, you have uneven numbers. Now it just gets to be a mess. Like people obviously do it, but it's not great. So coming to here at this point, oh, and Southern Saudad's out at this point. Neat. Um, what happened? What happens is I now 2 events. I bring, I don't know. It depends on the event. I'm just going to say for ease, 20 copies of book one, 20 copies of Omnibus one, and 10 copies of Omnibus two. So all 6 books are here, and then I'll bring like 10 copies of Southern Saudade. I'll bring, uh, and then I only bring 2 copies of books 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And why I do that, one is so I have a display copy, but then the other I can sell a ultimate bundle. It's here are all the books signed. The only way you can get a signed books 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is either you buy one and bring it to me, or you have to buy this ultimate bundle from me. Um, so yeah, I am getting the same number of books to an event um, without having to carry 5 fucking totes worth of books. Um, Also, uh, the omnibus editions sell better. Like typically, I sell more omnibus ones than book ones. It can vary from event to event, but that really does tend to be the case. Okay, what else is going on here? I'm under that awning, same 6 foot table, same tablecloth. You see Horace now. There's a possum on the table. That is Horace. I bring him to all my events. People like possums. The number of people that have stopped at my booth because of him has probably me buying that possum has probably made me a couple $100. No lie. Um, you see, I have stickers now. These stickers say "Read Redneck Meth Wizard books," and they're free. I tell people, stickers are free. Everyone can have one sticker for free. If you take a second sticker, you have to put it someplace that someone would not approve of. And I literally had someone comment on Instagram, was like, "Hey, I work at a gas station in South Carolina. Someone put one of your stickers on our window washer valet thing," and I checked out the books. I'm on book 2 and I love them. I've never done an event in South Carolina, so someone I'm assuming at Con Carolinas in North Carolina on their way home put that sticker on there, and it got me sales. Neat. Anywho, what else? Okay, you see, I've still got my skull, still got my Mothman in the little tree. That tree I got at like Ross on clearance because it was like the day after Halloween. Still got my hand. I got new business cards here. These business cards have a QR code that goes to my link tree. It's what I recommend that you do. It still has my website on there, but it says like Bob Magoo, author, podcaster, game designer, and then TalesbyBob.com. If someone needs to have my email address or phone number, I write it on the back. But do not put that kind of information on the front of the card. Just don't. It's a bad idea. If you look in the back, I had gotten real tired of those big, super heavy totes. Um, the two of them, they were so one because one would be full of the shit to go on the table, and one would be full of the books. And the one that was full of the books was so heavy, it was a nightmare to deal with. So I went and bought a bunch of smaller totes. I got a recommendation from someone. I got them. And this event, you can see them in the back there. I'd swapped to that. Stuff falling on my desk. Um, and it had rained the night before, so the ground's kind of damp. And as I was going down the hill, you can see my truck there in the background, where I was temporarily parked to unload. Um, as I was coming down this little slope, one of the totes just slid, full of books, slid off the top and burst open, and so my books fell on wet ground. That was cool. Uh, Hated those things. I now just use them to store the shit that I bought for my table that I no longer use, basically. But yeah, the real big takeaway here is book rack. That was the big thing. Okay, so remember when I was like, oh, the last slide, you'll see it's at the same place. This also is here. It's a place called Southern Art Makers Collective. So you can see here that I have started putting these little note cards in the books that are like little quick pitches. I stole this idea from an author named Ellie Rain. We shared a table space at Con Carolinas. I don't think I got a picture of that booth. If I do, it's in this slideshow out of order. Um, but she would put these little notes on little note cards. So basically, if she wasn't at the table, the books could pitch themselves, basically. I thought that was genius, and I started doing it. Um, you can see, got my skull. Got behind the skull there. You can see the ultimate bundle. Yeah, I still have a price sheet. Uh, the in the book rack there, you can see that there's a picture frame. That's a bunch of reviews where I put like where people had left like glowing reviews. Um, Waste of time. Um, you see the stickers. I've kind of narrowed down the stickers a bit. Um, Pick the ones that sell the best kind of deal. You see Horace there. You see my Diet Coke in the background. Yeah, still got my still got my little bird skull there. All right. This was, I think this was Conjuration. Ben had not set up yet. This is me and Ben sharing a table. So basically, it's this setup, but compressed. So again, I'm sorry if this makes you nauseous, me going back and forth, but fuck it. You see here, I have Southern Saudade out on the table, like in its own. I have Bring It Home the Rain, Demons That Haunt Them, Southern Saudade, boom, boom, boom. Here, um, I didn't have Southern Saudade out, and I opted to do the second omnibus. And you can see that I don't have room for my skull, or not my skull, my skeleton hand for my business cards. So business cards and free stickers are in amongst the paid stickers. That does not work well. Um, Price sheet is there. I've added some more little of the signs. Um, yeah. Uh, Having Omnibus 2 like this honestly did not help. If anything, I think it may have hurt. Um, and I don't really know why. I don't know what the psychology there is, but I would have been better off at this event doing Southern Saudade there. Um, yeah, moving on. Okay, this is me and Alexander Nader sharing at Con Carolinas. No, not Con Carolinas, Chattacon. Again, it's that same compressed uh, layout. The big difference here is between this Conjuration and this Chattacon is you see I have the books, uh, I have copies face down so that people can read the backs. Um, that's the biggest difference, really. Other than you can see, I've got my skull or my skeleton hand out there, even though it's resting on a sticker thing. Um, Horace is tucked around the corner there. I don't know, basically the same setup, uh, just done slightly differently. It went okay. This was a event where we had five authors in a booth. This was at Atlantic Comic Con. I'm actually next to Ben. I was in there with Vanessa Gunta and who else? There was Paige L. Christie, and I remember the fifth author, but I don't want to say her name because I can never remember what's her real name and what's her pen name, and I don't want to out her. I guess you could say. So anyway, um, I had a little bit more than a 3 foot space, so I was able to spread out a little bit more here. Southern Saudade comes back out. I've got the four books, face up, with the backs up. Got my stickers there, sign up sheet, the whole shebang. I got my little. I've still got my Mothman. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can see Ben in the background trying to get his banner. Um, it broke. He fixed it, but it broke, so he's trying to get it on stove. Um, at this point, I don't really, I've long since quit carrying that rack around. So my Tales by Bob little Vistaprint banner, I've not used it at this point a long time. So didn't have a banner of my own. This is not a table. This was I was teaching at a workshop, and they were like, "Oh," I was like, "Do I get a table for teaching here? Because it's like an all day event." Like, not really, but like if you have books you want to sell, we have like one table for like whoever wants to sell books, kind of deal. And so this was my setup when I had like basically a foot, 2 feet of space. I guess I don't know. Um, I literally this was my entire inventory. This was everything I brought. I think um, I just loaded them into one like tote bag or something like that. I can't remember exactly what I put them in, but this was it. This was the setup, uh, and I sold a few. Whatever. But this is me doing the best I could with the limited amount of space I had. Okay. Not a super great picture. I looked around. I did not have a good picture from this event of my setup. Um, this was Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Art Con event. Um, so it's not a great picture, but I put this in here for a few reasons. One, you can see I have unveiled my little signs like If Dresden Did Math, Possum Familiar, White Trash Black Magic. These are little signs that I did not like those note cards. I thought the note cards that I was tucking in looked cheap. So I was like, ooh, I'm gonna buy these little things and I'm gonna use those instead. And they worked pretty all right. Um, the other reason is because if you see the woman next to me, that's an author named Sydney Reams. Uh, this is a standing offer. If there's a possibility that you can be in an event that I'm selling books, you can come and job shadow me. Basically, you can be my intern for the weekend, and you can come. You got to buy your own badge. I ain't providing your badge, but you can come hang out in the booth and watch and learn how to hand sell. Typically, I'll be doing it with these two gentlemen here. That's Ben Meeks on the far side, and next to him is Richard Fierce. The three of us do a ton of events together. Anyway, Sydney took me up on that. It was like, hey, I'm in the Huntsville area. We'd connected previously through an email builder, I think. And she was like, I would love to come out and kind of job shadow. So she came out on Saturday and watched. She had never done in person events before. So she came and asked questions. And we told her, it's like, look, you've got some books. Tomorrow, why don't you just bring a couple books? We'll squeeze you in between us. And we'll just put your books in. I put her books in my square, and I just handled the sales, and then just paid her out like the following week after taxes had been deducted and everything. So, yeah, so she came out and sold some books. Do not expect that I'm going to let you come sell books at my booth just because let you intern. That is not the expectation. Okay, it was just it worked out in this case. Um, all right, because for all I know, you're gonna get there and you're gonna get on my last fucking nerve, and I'm not gonna want to. She was great, um, and we let her, but she also only had two books, so it was an easy squeeze. Okay, yeah, this was five authors, not counting her. This was five authors. We took a corner or an end cap basically, which those are always fun to do. Uh, but yeah, okay. Next, here the big takeaway is I bought these little hat stands off Amazon. They're like little plexiglass hat stands that I spray painted black, and uh, I was like, "Ooh, I like these little signs. I think they're working well, but I need a way to get them above the book." So I bought these hat stands, and they worked pretty good. The problem is they were awkward as fuck to fit into my totes. They were a nightmare. Um, for that. But what else? You can see I have my ultimate bundle on the table with a sign on top. It's like, ooh, $100. You can see I don't have a price sheet. I think this is at this point is where I killed the price sheet. If you see one come back, I was a liar, but I think by this point I've killed the price sheet. You can see my little bird skull. You can see his nose is broke. He fell and got cracked. Um, Stickers, business cards, sign up sheet, the works. My little Mothman, Horus. At this point, I'm starting to dial it in a bit. On the far side, you see the postcards. At this point, I had art cards. There was a pack of 10 art cards, and someone stole one, so I have a pack of 9. And so then, what do you do with a pack of art cards that you sell a pack of 10 for 15, but you have 9? Um, and yeah, and spoiler, because I love fucking postcards and no one else does. These didn't sell for shit either. So I put them in you got the ultimate bundle. It was $7 and the 10 art cards for $100. Um, the ultimate bundle now is just 8 books for $100 because I'm not doing the art cards because the art cards don't sell for shit because God hates me. Um, yeah. Anything else of note here? I don't think so. Okay, this was a what? Oh yeah, this was a romance authors event. I sold like shit. Um, But you can see here, I just bought these two tall book racks, um, book stand things. Um, so you may have noticed, like, oh, Bob, you had a book rack, but you quit using the book rack. Why? I got in my head that my sales got worse because of the book rack. And yes, but not because of the book rack. I think what was happening, I don't know, we'll talk about it here in a second. No, fuck it, I'm going to talk about it now. Okay. So, and I talked a little bit earlier that I think having the two omnibuses there side by side made my sales worse. Um, I started having this book rack out, and around the same time, I started having two omnibuses. For a while there, I only had one omnibus, and then I had two. And people were just not buying Omnibus 1 as much when Omnibus 2 was there and I was promoting. It's like, because what I would do, my pitch would be like, oh, this is book 1, it's 15. This is Omnibus 1, it's 35. Here's Omnibus 2, it's also 35, but if you get them both, it's 60. Because I was trying to get them to buy both, basically. Um, but that coincided with the time I had the book rack. Well, my sales of my omnibus sales dropped, and that's where I make most of my money. Omnibus one sales drives the bulk of my money. So if those slump, I start taking a hit. Well, I didn't really know, and I just assumed it had something to do with the book rack. So I quit doing the book rack. Well, Richard Fierce, he has one of these like folding bookshelves, tabletop bookshelves, and I saw that Amazon had a 2 pack with like a shelf, two shelves that you can use to connect them um, for a decent price. So I picked one up. I've never once used the connecting shelves. I just don't have a use case for them. It's it, there's not a good use case for them. Basically, God, I keep wanting to skip by stuff, but then I think, oh, I'm trying to be informative to people, but I'm lazy. So, okay. So imagine that these bookshelves are a foot wide, okay, and that the connecting shelves are 2 feet wide. So what you have is if you connect them all together, you have 4 feet of stuff. Well, if you're on a 6 foot table, what do you do with the other 2 feet? Like, is that go in the middle? Does the whole thing go to the side? But then you have this weird, wonky 2 foot extra space. Like, I did not see a good way to make this look good effectively. So, this is the first event I had them. And you can also see this is the first event I have my game zines. I only had two at the time. I've got five now. But yeah, so it's here are I've got these two tall stands. They're eye catching. You know, I put stuff on the top of them to draw the eye. Um, I put my zines on there, but I've still got the meat in the middle, as it were. Oh, you see, I've got my price sheet back, so I guess I hadn't got rid of it yet. Totally. Um, I you look over here, I've got the art cards kind of splayed out so you can see all of them laid flat on the table in hopes of getting sales. Didn't work. But this is also just a shitty event for me because I don't write romance. Um, you see, I have my ultimate bundle on one shelf. Above it, I have something highlighting Southern Saudade. This was a romance event. Southern Saudade is the closest thing I have to romance. So I was trying to highlight that. You see my Mothman, you see my Bird Skull, you see Horus, you see the hat stands. So the hat stand little signs, they all have the prices on there. I eventually remake those with no pricing stickers on them. Um, but yeah, uh, they provided the table and the tablecloth on this event, if I remember correctly. But yeah, okay. So here is me and Ben sharing. I don't even know what event this is. But we had to share. These are both my book stands. I let him use one because we're trying to share space. Uh, and it helped him go vertical, yada yada yada. You see, so this may have been the event where so first off, I have a new zine, um, so I'm up to three at this point. But this is the event I think it's maybe where I realized, oh shit, the problem has been that I have Omnibus 2 so prominently is why my because I think this was the event I was like, holy shit, my Omnibus 1 is back selling good again. What happened? And I thought back and figured out that that was what was going on. You can see here Ben has started doing. He's been doing it for a while. You probably could see them in some of the pictures that we did, but he hand turns pins, like fancy $high pins. And he also has these 3D printed thumb holders. That's his little cheap something on the table. You can see the stickers took up so much room on the table that a lot of events I couldn't even have them. Let me go back a slide real quick. Okay, so you see here, I don't have anything on the sides of the tall book stands, but if you look down here, I bought these garden flags. Um, the one on Ben's side is a Mothman that says like protect your local wildlife, and the one on my side is a possum in a wizard's hat that says Hocus a Pocus. And they're eye catching, and people laugh and they stop because they see them. Um, but yeah, this is us working in a cramped space together. Oh, I know what this was. This is Con Carolinas. Yeah, we had like a this is like a 4 foot table or something like that. And the other thing was it was very shallow. It was only like a 2 foot deep table, which is oof. That is hard to work with. Um, so yeah, you see, neither one of us have a email sign up on the table because ain't no room. But at this point, you can see Ben has his Paxor, his new sci-fi lit RPG out. Um, yeah. Okay. This was an event in Huntsville. It was a shit event. Never going back to that one. It was a Sunday event, and God, I got stuck next to a 3D printer merchant who had 3D printed a lightsaber that would collapse, and all day he just shk, collapse, shk, collapse, shk, collapse. Imagine that for like 6 hours. I wanted to kill myself. Okay, so I brought the book rack out again because I'm like, well, I need a way to display my zines and books. And so the book rack is back. I've gone down to one tower, bookshelf tower thing. Um, I've got business cards made for my publishing company, Bearded Bard Inkworks, which is who puts out my zines and technically publishes all my books. Um, but yeah, this was you still see I've got the pricing sheet, haven't got rid of that dead space. But yeah, one bookshelf and the book rack. Okay, this is this was Fanboy Knoxville. And you see that's Ben beside me, and then Richard on the other side. On the end is a rad guy named Alfred Mueller, another author friend of ours. You can see I'm using the book rack and the book tower. That tower next to it, bookshelf next to it, is actually Richard's, where I got the idea from. You can see my Hocus Pocus sign a little better. Um, you can see all I have is book one and omnibus one, and I moved a ton of omnibuses that way. Um, yeah, basically it's the same setup I had, just on a more compressed space, pretty much, and on a corner. Um, Not really much to say else here. No riveting new innovations. Um, okay, this was a bookstore event. The reason I put this in, because again, like at this point, we're variations on a theme, um, and I think by this point, what I learned is I can have Omnibus 2 out there, but I typically don't even really mention it. You know, people will ask, the people who want to buy it will ask about it. But you can see here, I made my banner. I'm all about branding. Um, so my brand has, for at this point, for quite some time, has been. I've always worn vests like this for much of my adult life. And this vest you see here is actually my convention vest. It's the vest I wear when I'm selling books. You see that there's two vests behind me here. One is my metal vest, like punk metal vest, and the other is just an excess vest that I made up for my wife. Um, and then, but so I was like, I want my banner to look like my vests, basically. So years ago, I got a buddy of mine to screen print my logo and into back patches. So all my vests, all three of these vests have that Tales by Bob logo on the back. So I got my mother-in-law to very kindly sew that onto this banner, and I started putting all my excess pins on there of all my different stuff, and it's very eye-catching. I still don't know if I like it, honestly. I'd love y'all's feedback. If you think it looks like ass, be honest with me. Just let me know. I love it, but I don't know that it actually looks good. One thing, I know I need to put a dowel across the bottom to get it to stretch out and be more flat, and I just keep forgetting to go buy a dowel because I'm a fucking idiot. Um, but yeah, this was Alabama Comic Con. This was a shit event. You see the banner in the background. You can see it more clearly at stand. You can see that I'm still using the hat stands and the little signs. I've made the signs look more uniform, zhuzhed them up a little bit, put a little art on them, but also took the price off of them. You can see I'm using the book rack and one tower. I made a meet the author sign. You'd be surprised at the number of people who walk up and are just like, oh, wait, you wrote these? What? It's baffling. It's like you think I'm just there to sell someone else's books. I don't know. You can see Omnibus 2 is not out, even out on the table. It is definitely for sale, but it's not on the table. I have a sign up for my audiobooks now because some people want audio books. And I'm like, oh, look, you can get them on Audible. So here, because I had at this point all 5 of my zines that are out now. Oh wait, there's Omnibus 2. Yeah, it's tucked. It is out, but it's tucked away. Um, okay, so I have 5 zines. You can see I made a little sign here with the that's by the zines that um, describes them. Uh, I was like, you know what? I haven't really had room to do stickers in a while. I kind of quit doing them. The problem with the stickers was I was buying super cheap stickers, and as they age, they curl and they lose their stickiness. And I felt bad about selling them to people, even though they were super cheap. Um, so I ended up just giving them all to my kiddo. And I was like, but I'm doing zines now. What if I bought all my zines use D6, 6-sided dice? I was like, what if I just bought a bunch of cool looking D6, like bundles of D6, and tried to sell those as my cheap something? And so this was me. I used the same trays that I used in my stickers and filled them with dice, and no one ever bought them. Basically, is how that goes. Okay, this was Summerton Book Festival. Okay, here, remember those note cards I had, and I thought they looked cheap, so I went to the printed little in the little the the ones I was just talking about how I remade them in the little frames or whatnot. Well, I got tired of carrying those fucking hat stands around. They don't fit into anything well. And so I was like, you know what? And I saw at the last one at Alabama Comic Con, I a guy there, author James Maxey, he had little signs that were more like this. They were like laminated little signs. I was like, that's the move. That's what I'm doing. So these are my first attempt. These are just printed paper signs, um, and they say all the funny things that I typically say. If Dresden did meth, Possum Familiar, stuff like that. Stuff to kind of clue people in as to what's going on. Um, and then, but the zines, they actually have a short, like, 1 sentence summary of what the game is about. You can see I've got I bought. Oh, the other thing is I bought a bigger book rack. This book rack can hold my zines and all my books. It's a much better rack, and I really like it. And you can see here how I'm displaying it. It's book 1, beside is book 2, and then the next row is book 3, and then omnibus 1. So I can, when I'm talking to people on the table, it's like 1, 2, and 3 bound together, 4, 5, and 6 bound together, and people can clearly see what a good deal they're getting. But yeah, other than that, all the usual suspects. We've got Mothman's there. You can't see him, but my bird skull's up on top with Horus. Um, still got my business cards, got the free stickers. Just y'all know the drill at this point. It's same old for a lot of this stuff. Um, this was Conjuration this year. We were in the vendor hall instead of an author's alley. This is me and Ben again. Um, you can see the little signs a little better, I think. This is the last event that the dice make an appearance because, yeah, they still weren't selling. Um, but while I was here, I had the idea that, so I forgot Horace. Horace, I had taken him to another event, so he was in a different tote, like a little, just like event where I was speaking to a group of teens. And when I was loading him for Conjuration, I forgot to move him back over. So I showed up with no Horus. It was the first event with no Horus. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have him. And then there are these 2 sisters, the Frank sisters, Kelly and Marlena. One's an author and one is an artist. You should go check them out. And they're great. But they had bought me this little possum that they saw because possums. And so I was like, oh my God, they gave me that. It's like, it was fate. Um, so, but anywho, so while I was here, I had the thought of like, man, if I had my other book stand here, I could put them side by side. It'd be the same size as this rack. I was like, I should give that a try sometime. But yeah. Oh, you can see I have my Create Your Way to Freedom book out here. You can see it doesn't have a sign yet because it was so new. I haven't made a sign for it. Oh, at this point, the signs are tidied up and I bootleg laminated them. I didn't get a laminator, but I got the kind of paper that you can do it with. I don't know. I ain't no expert. Least crafty motherfucker I know. Yeah. So, boom. Okay, here it is. Last slide. I've talked to y'all enough. Um, this was again. This is now the third time you've seen me at Southern Art and Makers. They painted the walls from green to white. Um, New owner of the building, super cool guy. But yeah, so you can see I was like, oh, you know what? This is a good time. I'm going to try out the two stands, the two bookshelves behind the rack, and I like it. I think I need to tweak it a little bit, but overall, I like it. So this is my most recent setup. Literally, this is my setup yesterday, and I think I like it. Um, so the cool thing is because the two bottom shelves you don't really see them. That's where I store my excess books for like all. I put a bunch of omnibus ones and a bunch of book ones because those are my two top sellers. So they're right there handy. And I don't know how I don't know how well this works, but I've had a lot of authors swear to me that like you don't put a lot of books on the table because you want to imply scarcity. So this allows me to have a bunch of books on the table, but they're not visible, so I don't have like a huge stack of omnibus ones there. Um, what would I change? Well, it's hard to say. This event wasn't super well attended because it was outside and it was brutally cold yesterday. So this may really work, but what I would probably do if this is at a convention and what I'll probably try to do next time, depends on what space I have. If I'm sharing a table, I won't be doing a lot of this, but um, I would probably I would probably swap my Omnibus One with my Create Your Way to Freedom book. The Create Your Way to Freedom book is very niche. It's only going to appeal to people who are like creatives who are trying to be creatives. This was at an art collective, so I thought there's a chance it might sell here. I did sell one. Um, so that's why it was more prominent. But at most events, it needs to be kind of. It does not need to be taking up the important space in the front. So I would probably swap them out. Um, but yeah, that's it. That's the history of my table. That's not every event I've done. There are gaps, but those are the highlights. You know, that's where changes occurred. Um, so yeah, if you have any questions or comments, go to talesbybob.com. Well, first off, you can leave them here on YouTube, down below. I get notified. I will know. Um, but you can go to my website. I have a contact page. You can reach out, ask me any of your questions, or leave any comments there. Let me know how my banner looks, whatever. Um, Also, if you go there, I have an education tab. All the videos that I make that are like this are there with a lot of like guides, like PDF guides. It's all free content. I don't charge for any of that. And also, I'm super huge on transparency. If you want to know exactly how many books I sold, to date, you can go on there and look and see when, you know, twice a year I update how many books I've sold. Every month I break down the numbers, like, how much I made selling books, how much I made selling shirts, uh, how my social media grew, how my email list grew, all that kind of stuff, and what I did, what I tried, what worked, what didn't. So, tellsbybob.com, either slash transparency or slash education, depends on what you're more interested in. And yeah, reach out, let me know. Hope this is helpful. Cheers.